What's up, guys? Ryan Blakeley here at District Coaching Concepts, and today I want to bring you guys a video about post-workout nutrition. I did a post the other week, I think it was, on post-workout nutrition. I got a lot of good feedback on it. I had a lot of people DMing me, sending me a couple emails, and even had some athletes that I currently work with, especially the ones that are on macros, were a little bit more curious about, post-workout nutrition, their food selection, proper timing, and everything else. So I thought, what a good time to kind of come in here with a video with you guys and kind of dive into a little bit more detail there. So obviously, we're talking about post-workout nutrition, but why are we talking about post-workout nutrition and why is it so important? Post-workout nutrition is important because it starts the recovery process for us. So when you're in the gym, guys, and you're working hard like you should every time, when you're in there, you're killing it, you're breaking your muscles down, you're depleting your energy, you're really destroying your body in the gym, which sounds aggressive, but that's exactly what we want. However, once we're done tearing those muscles down, we want to start the recovery process so we can build them bigger and stronger and get them ready for the next session. So at that point, what we want to do is prioritize our two main macros, which is protein and carbohydrates. The reason we want to prioritize those two is because, one, protein should be your priority in every meal. Every meal you should prioritize protein first and then build your other macros around that. So obviously we want to go ahead and throw in protein. Now, the other macro we want to focus on is going to be carbohydrates, your glycogen source. And the reason that you want to go ahead and work on adding in carbohydrates is the simple fact that that is your body's number one fuel source. So your body, when it's depleted, when it's used all that energy that you had prior to the gym after you worked out, it is craving more glycogen. It needs to be replenished. It needs to be restored because that is your body's number one preferred energy source. So your body's going to want protein and it's going to want carbohydrates. Those are the two macros that you're going to focus on. I personally don't do a lot of fat post-workout, nor do I give a lot of fat to my athletes post-workout, simply for the fact that, like I mentioned before, this is the very important time to start your recovery process. So what you want to do is make sure that digestion is not disrupted at this point. So I try to stay away from fat, because fats obviously slow down digestion. But right now, this post-workout meal, we're going to want to get in and start working fast. So I try to eliminate fats during that post-workout meal. You can, however, on that next meal and the meals therefore after, you can add the fats in that you need to meet your daily macros, but I would recommend that you only focus on the carbohydrates and the protein intake post-training. Now, obviously, the amounts of protein and carbohydrates are going to be specific to the individual. However, that should be up to you and your coach and everybody else to figure out. If you guys obviously need help on that, please feel free to hit me up, and we can always discuss that in more detail. Now that you started the recovery process, what we kind of want to talk about is your meal timing, because that was honestly the main question that I was getting with that post was, well, how soon am I supposed to eat post-workout? Because you said don't eat too soon because of digestion being affected, but you also said you wanted to eat within a 30-45 minute window, so where do I fall? So to kind of talk about that window, which, obviously everybody calls it the anabolic window, there's, guys, we can talk about that and argue that all day long. However, what we basically want to know or remember is that we want to make sure that we get that post-workout meal in within a proper amount of time. I usually say within 30-45 minutes. I do think that that is a good window to get that post-workout nutrition in, but you want to make sure that your digestion is not affected. So when you're in the gym and you're in that fight or flight and you're in that, sympathetic state, nervous system state, what's going to happen is your body's super elevated, obviously. So digestion is not a priority at your body at this point. So therefore, if you were to eat immediately post-training, your digestion is going to obviously be affected. And therefore, the food that we want to partition, obviously, for that post-workout recovery is not going to matter. So what I recommend that you guys do is when you're done training, sit down for a couple minutes, rest, relax, kind of catch your breath. Usually what I do post-training is I take 3 caps of Revive Calm. That is a crazy cortisol management system that I firmly believe in and definitely think that you guys should look into. But I usually take 3 caps of Revive Calm. Post-training, I give myself another 10 or 15 minutes to kind of, let myself kind of come down to a more parasympathetic state. And then at that point, I'll go ahead and I'll eat my meal. That allows my digestion to be smooth. That allows the food, obviously, to digest smooth as well. That allows the food to partition properly. And not only that, but since your body is not elevated, you're not rushed, you're not in that, sympathetic state anymore, you're able to relax and actually digest that food and start that recovery process. Meal timing, again, guys, moving forward after this post-workout meal is very important as well. You want to keep your meal spaced out and, a proper distance of time. I usually say within 2.5 to 3 hours. That way digestion still flows properly. But what you don't want to do is, I don't usually like to see people go any longer than 4 hours without eating. The one exception to, the rule of spacing your meals out is obviously once you finish your post-workout meal, you're gonna be a little hungry, obviously, because there's not a lot of fat in that meal. Not only that, but you just got done working out, so you're craving all this food. Your body's a sponge for these nutrients right now. So what I usually tell my athletes is, if you wanna eat your meal that's after your post-training meal, and you don't wanna space that out 3 hours because you are absolutely starving and obviously, you're needing that nutrition, we are in the recovery phase at this point. So what I'd like you to do is maybe move that meal about 2 hours past your post-workout meal, and then after that meal, go back to your 3-hour windows on meal timing. So that's a little bit kind of how I work with post-workout nutrition, kind of my thoughts on it, why I believe it's so important, and not only why I believe it's so important, but why it is such a huge process to start as far as recovery goes. So that post-workout nutrition literally just kicks that recovery process off, guys, and as long as you can keep up with that recovery, you're going to succeed, you're going to excel, you're going to do really well. One thing you also want to remember, and I'll kind of end with this, is, like I said, you should be training hard when you're in the gym. You want to do everything you can to maximize your recovery time. So obviously, the post-workout nutrition that we talked about is the number one thing you want to start with. Every meal after that, every food choice that you make after that, it all matters. Your sleep, it matters. Everything here matters in recovery, guys. So what I want you guys to take away from this is that when you're dealing with post-workout nutrition, when you're dealing with the recovery process, if you start to get super sore, if you start to get burned out, if you start to get in a position where you're just super worn down, listen to your body, guys. You probably need an extra day off. You probably need a little bit more rest time. All this rest and recovery goes hand in hand. Your post-workout nutrition, your meals, literally everything outside of the gym, that 22-hour window that you're not in the gym, you should be dealing and focusing on prioritizing recovery. That alone is going to change the name, guys, or change the game for you guys. Because what a lot of people do is they just want to go, 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 and they never give themselves enough time to take that interval, to step back, to relax, and let the body just, decompress a little bit, calm down, rest, relax, recover, digest. And at that point, guys, once you start getting into that aspect of everything and not just focusing on your training and your nutrition, but you're adding in this recovery block, you're going to do so well. And at the end of the day, guys, I want everybody to win. I want to win. I want my team to win. I want everybody else's team to win. I want everybody out there that's watching that is open-minded enough to kind of listen to me, to hear what I have to say, to take the time to watch these videos, to watch the content that we put out. I really want you guys to win. I want everybody to win because at the end of the day, guys, we're all on the same team. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it put, a little bit of value, and everything you guys are learning. I hope it put another tool in your toolbox. And again, guys, I'm always open to suggestions. I'm always open for more content ideas. I'm open for questions. I love interacting with you guys. That's how we all learn. So if you have any other questions or any other ideas or any other topics you want to see us cover on these IGTV videos, please go ahead, drop a comment below, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. There's plenty of ways to get in contact with me. I love doing these videos for you guys. We'll keep them going. You guys have a great day. Super excited for just everything we have going on right now at the district. I hope you guys have an awesome day, awesome week, killer weekend. Welcome to the district.